Welcome back to Disturbed Reality. Today once again we will be covering the Mexican cartels and in particular CJNG once again. They are really becoming a prominent feature on my channel, but this story in particular does actually come with an interesting and disturbing twist. Obviously when it comes to the true crime genre, where I guess my channel kind of resides, a lot of people are interested in many different topics. But one subtopic in the true crime genre that fascinates a lot of people is actually the act of cannibalism. This is why people find serial killers like Andre Chikatilo and Jeffrey Dahmer such interesting case studies, because while serial killers are rare, the act of cannibalism is even rarer, and ultimately I guess people are fascinated and curious in regards to what goes on in the mind of serial killers such as Andre Chikatilo and Jeffrey Dahmer. People want to know how they tick. There's definitely a fascination with cannibals in the true crime genre, much less to actually see an act of cannibalism caught on tape. In the future, I actually plan on making videos on lost media, disturbing lost media, which would fit this channel. But one case of disturbing lost media, which is at the top of a pile for a lot of people, is the case of the German cannibal Armin Meiwes. Now Meiwes killed and cannibalized his victim in March 2001. Essentially Meiwes always had cannibalistic thoughts throughout his life, and eventually Meiwes turned those fantasies into reality. What he did basically was go on an internet message board for cannibalism, and he basically put a post out looking for a willing victim, and he found one. He found a willing victim who wanted to be eaten, and you know, one thing led to another, and he killed his victim and ate him. Armin Meiwes actually also recorded a lot of this on video, and that tape was confiscated by the German authorities and locked away. And that footage in particular is high on the list of lost disturbing media. A lot of people are morbidly curious about that footage, and I guess that's because while we can find a lot of disturbing media online, cannibalism caught on video is extremely rare. In fact, a lot of people don't even believe any footage exists on the surface web. However, those people are actually wrong. Let alone the video I'm covering today. There is a video out there of inmates in Brazil, in a Brazilian prison. I believe there was some sort of prison riot, basically all hell broke loose, and there was footage of an inmate who appeared to be basically barbecuing human flesh. You don't actually see him eat it, but it looked like human flesh to me. And also there was the case in America when basically somebody was on bath salts, he went crazy, and he started to attack a homeless person and basically eat his face. That footage has actually been recorded on CCTV, but having said that, you cannot see the gory details because the view is somewhat obstructed. So even if you take the video that I'm going to talk about aside, there are actually a couple of cases of recorded cannibalism and the footage is available. But nevertheless, now I guess I should get into the actual video. So the video in question is once again a cartel video, and it's believed to have been perpetrated by the notorious CJNG, the New Generation Jalisco Cartel. And essentially, while the video is extremely short, just over 1 minute, it is extremely graphic. The video starts with a bound man on the floor. Basically, he's lying on his back. He's also got what looks to be a chain on his neck, almost like a chain dog lead, if you will. And yeah, essentially the violence begins right away. A guy who has his face covered comes in with a hunting knife or a combat knife, one of the two, and basically he stabs his victim in the chest, close to the heart, and he cuts down basically up to his mid-abdominal area. And yeah, basically at this point his chest is completely open, and by the way, while this is happening he is being restrained by another man who's got his foot on his head. At this point the victim is writhing in pain, and to be honest, at this point it looks like the victim immediately goes into shock. Once the guy's chest is cut open, then the guy with a knife basically reaches into his chest and cuts a sliver of his heart out and proceeds to eat it. The camera then pans back to the victim, and essentially it looks like the victim is convulsing, and at this point you can literally see the victim's lungs basically inflate and deflate through the slit in his chest, and there's blood everywhere obviously. That's where the video essentially ends. So it's a quick one, but extremely graphic, extremely brutal, and not pleasant to look at. And again, as I always say, don't watch this video, don't seek it out, just take my word for it, use your imagination, but go no further, it's just not worth it. As I mentioned earlier, the perpetrators were CJNG, and apparently this was a revenge attack on a rival cartel, believed to be the Tepalcatepec cartel. In fact, I found what I believe to be a translation of what one of the perpetrators was saying, and again, I don't speak Spanish, so I cannot verify this 100%, but apparently this was the translation. Let them see we are Jalisco, we will exterminate them, all of the Tepecs. So yeah, there we have it. You know, this video was requested by a lot of people, so I thought I would cover it, and you guys weren't lying when you said it was brutal. Jesus Christ. I mean, ultimately, you know, all I can really hope for is that this violence in Mexico comes to an end, but if I'm being honest, I can't really see no end in sight in the foreseeable future. And ultimately, my thoughts go out to all of the innocent people affected by this, because it's not just cartel members killing cartel members. Innocent members of the public get caught up in this, whether it's in a crossfire, whether it's abduction, or whether it's people being forced to join the cartel ranks. A lot of innocent people are being caught up in this. People are losing sons, daughters, brothers, friends, uncles. I mean, it really is a crazy situation down in Mexico. I actually read an article in the Huffington Post, and again, take that with a grain of salt. The Huffington Post aren't exactly the most reliable, but I read in an article that between 2007 to 2015, over 100,000 people were killed in the war on drugs. If that number is anything close to reality, that is just staggering, honestly. I mean, that really is frightening, and the violence appears to be getting worse. You know, right now in the world, especially in the West, we hear about certain conflicts across the globe where human rights violations are being committed and innocent people are being subjugated to imprisonment and even murder, and these conflicts get coverage across Western media, and rightly so. I'm not taking away from their struggle by any means, but nobody seems to be touching what's going on in Mexico. And when you look at the numbers involved, it's not acceptable. When you look at the amount of people being killed year on year out in Mexico, it's crazy to me. It really is crazy, and people are not clued up on this at all. It's absolutely insane. I guess it's because, let's be honest, yeah, both in Mexico and the USA, too many people in power are skimming off the top. It's not in their interest to solve this problem, and as a result, thousands of people are getting killed each year. Now, even before I did this channel, I knew it was bad, but I never knew it was this bad. And you know, one further thing to add, all of the journalists in Mexico who are reporting on this and trying to get their story out there, you know, these guys and girls, man, have balls of steel, honestly, because the amount of journalists in Mexico being killed right now by the cartels is staggering, and there's people out there still willing to cover these stories. You know, those guys are, you know, I can't commend them enough. The courage and bravery they're showing in, you know, in shedding light on this. But yeah, I'm going off in a tangent. I guess I need to wrap this video up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think in the comments, and again, if you have any other suggestions for videos in which you would like me to cover, feel free to share those in the comments, and I will certainly consider that topic. And lastly, but certainly not least, I wanted to thank my new channel members, Cindy Francis, Troy Lanes, and also Joshua Wayne York. Big up to you guys, the support is much appreciated, and I will catch you guys on the next one.